Hi, everybody.
Hi, listeners.
It is the Dead Air Horror Review Show, and this is a very special episode, right? Because I'm sure that you all have listened to each and every episode, and you said, "Where is the blood? Where is the guts? This is a horror review show. Where is the drama?
Yeah,
Because
these guys
drama,
do too much thrillers, too much
yes,
suspense. We
yes,
want blood and gore and guts.
yes, and we
You're about to
want it
get it.
between the hosts because there's no conflict. And as any first year writer will know, conflict is the essence of drama. And tonight, Chris and I have a violent disagreement over a film. So I'd like to say that what am I, a politician? I'm really, really very demonstrative today. I love it. We watched Evil Dead Rise, and
Oops.
I'd like to start an opening salvo by saying, Chris, what the hell's wrong with you? How did you not love this movie?
Well, there's a
Ah,
laundry list of things that are wrong with me, but
a
let me
laundry list.
a
Oh, okay.
laundry list.
Of you. Fair enough. Yeah, okay, I get that.
Least of all is my taste in movies. But
Yeah, same, really. Yeah, I have like great taste in movies. The rest of me just garbage human being. I understand that completely. Yeah.
so when TJ and I were discussing what we were going to review for this week, um,
Yeah.
there was a couple of things tossed around,
Yeah.
but
Nothing
I
really stuck out. Like there's
yeah.
nothing like in the culture right now, in the horror culture.
Do you ever go on Shutter and just click through and you're like, nah,
Oh
nah,
yeah, all the time.
nah,
And
and then
no
I'm just
disrespect
get
to
so
Shutter.
frustrated.
Yeah, no disrespect to Shutter because it's an
Yeah,
amazing service.
yeah,
But like, yeah, no, I definitely feel that. And like, I think last week was The Innocents, right? We did The Innocents last week,
yeah,
and that was like a big high, right? That it's hard to even come. You know what I mean? Like when you watch something that good, it's hard to kind of find
yeah. You're
like
chasing
what's
the dragon.
next. And I think both of us came across that movie because we were looking at best of 2022 lists,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't feel like going back through another one of those or whatever. Not that again, we have our cup runneth over. Obviously, we can literally review anything ever, but like I don't know, we didn't have anything really to stick out, and I thought like we did Evil Dead the 2016 remake, so I was like, well,
13. Yeah,
our
20.
2013
Mhm.
remake, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do Evil Dead Rise because even though that is the newer one, like we kind of just talked about an Evil Dead movie, so I recommended. I think this guy's name is Lee Corvin or Coven. I don't know. I can't think of his name. The
Mhm.
director of Evil Dead Rise. He made another movie called Hole in the Ground, and I recommended re-review that. And then in our conversations, something I said something about Evil Dead Rise, and Chris was like, "Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it," and I'm like, "Ooh, oh, here we go. Oh, drama, drama, drama,
Oh, there's a
drama."
podcast right there.
Somebody call Keemstar because there is a drama alert. Like six
Yeah,
people get that reference.
right.
Keemstar is like 46 years old and still acts like a 10
As
year
much
old.
as we agree on TJ, just about pretty much
Oh,
everything,
oh yeah.
I
We
thought
well
we would be on the same page with this
and
one.
I well also like I feel like in the course of this show, especially, I don't think we've really we've disagreed on like I think one movie, which was Barbarian, which you
Yeah,
still kind of didn't like. Like it
yeah.
was like
I know the more
like
if you were to listen to that episode, you would be
right,
like, Chris is shit talking this movie for
right.
most of this podcast.
Yeah.
What could he possibly like about this?
Yeah, no,
Um,
yeah, which was funny, but I think other than that, I think we've been pretty much simpatico.
yeah,
So the opportunity to talk about something where we disagree with is intriguing,
this is
um,
juicy.
because I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I feel like a lot of them literally will, and I'm not naming names, but they will literally have to find a dissenting voice because, like, oh, we're natural, we're just talking,
Yeah.
and I in anything I produce, I want to just be natural. I don't ever want to come out contrived. But I've seen podcasts, and especially like ones that clip on TikTok, and I feel like they literally just have to be like, well, I don't like it and I like it. I feel
Mhm.
that's very disingenuous.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about something that you didn't care for that I'm going to just put it out on Front Street. And again, I already talked about it a little bit in the Evil Dead remake for you. I like flat out loved this movie. Like
Really?
I thought it was, I mean, I watched it. So I've watched this movie three times.
Okay.
I watched it in the theater. I watched it when the dubious internet file was released, and I was able to watch it at home. And then I watched it again in the last couple of days when we talked about watching it, and it has held up. Like I and I talked about this with the Evil Dead remake, but I don't even like the fact that Evil Dead is a franchise. Like, I think it's stupid.
Mhm.
But I think this movie, like, I really like, I know it's dumb to say, but I kind of wish this movie just had a different title. Like, I wish this movie was an Evil Dead movie because I think it kind of holds up on its own. I know it has, like, I think the worst parts of the movie, and it's like, to me it's nitpicky, but like I hate, there's like one scene in particular that like you could have just gotten rid of it completely. The eyeball scene, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about,
I
where it's
hate
like,
anything eyeball related. That's like
well, but
eyeballs
it's
to me are
like,
like cat murders to you. Like
yeah.
I
Oh,
cannot deal with eyeballs.
have you ever watched any Lucio Fulci movies?
Yeah.
That's his, like, that's
That's
his
his thing.
signature move,
Yeah.
is to stab people in the eye. It's disgusting. But no, the eyeball scene is like silly because it's trying to be like Evil Dead, which has like moments of like comedy in it.
Mhm.
But this movie, it doesn't work, and it's
Yeah.
really awkward. And it's like, yeah, you could have just left that out. And like there's a few minor other things in this movie where it's like, it felt like a note where they're like, well, you have to remind people this is an Evil Dead movie. Now, to me, there is a moment, there's a few moments specifically at the end where it like the chainsaw specifically feels natural and it doesn't feel tacked on.
Mhm.
Like as much as I hated the chainsaw in the Evil Dead remake, like, this all-powerful demon comes back and it's just like, I'm gonna enslave the universe, and it's like, nope, chainsaw to the face. Like, in this movie it happens and it's like, it feels right. I don't, to me anyway. um I also, this is something we probably should have talked about analog as we talk. It was in real life. I don't know if like we have to do synopsises every
We
time.
don't.
Like, I don't think we need to do one
No.
for this movie. This movie's still like
And I
really
don't think
new.
that's actually our strength. At least it's not mine. Like
I hate doing
you
synopsises.
can like I basically just read off Wikipedia anyway.
Yeah,
So
I don't like doing synopsises. I'm pretty bad at them.
yeah.
So, and also, like, we'll probably get into probably light spoilers. This is one of those movies that I don't think you can spoil. Like, you kind of, if you watch the trailer, you kind of get the gist of the whole movie from the trailer, and I mean that in a good way. Um, so I'm gonna ask, what didn't work for you in this? I'm curious to find out, because like I said, honestly, and this gives you plenty of room to play in, but I honestly, everything worked for, like, it's one of those
Really?
movies that just clicked. Like, I enjoy there, like I said, the only parts that I didn't like are some of the forced, like, Evil Dead isms that they had to stuff in there. But other than that, like, I thought, I love the gore. I love the pacing of the movie, like, especially the pacing. I thought the movie is just like boom, 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 boom. Like,
Yeah.
it starts out in that cold open, which I thought was great. And then you find out that the cold open isn't a cold open and it's a wraparound, and I thought that was really clever. I thought that between like them finding the book is a little dubious, but whatever. I mean,
That was my first criticism actually.
yeah, it's a little stupid. I'm
That
not gonna
kind of
lie,
annoyed me.
it's a
Yeah.
little stupid, but
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you got to get there, and it's like, okay, like, fine. And like, but the movie just, like, once it starts, it doesn't stop. Like, it's got such a great trajectory. There's no soggy middle in this movie. But yeah, and I especially love this is mommy now. This is dead mommy. uh I think her name is Alyssa Sutherland.
Sutherland, yeah.
She was great, and she
Yeah.
was great. To me, she was fantastic as the mom, like, before she turned, and I thought as the, like, evil demon monster, I thought she was incredible. But and I'll shut up after this, but I think one of the most positive reviews I can give, after I left the theater the first time I watched it, I legit felt bad for the family. Like, her
Mhm.
performance as the mom when she's alive, I was like, well, they seem like a nice family. She seems to really care for her kids. And I was legitimately upset that, like, she's dead now, and those kids are like, well, I mean, most of them are dead. Like, but it's like I kind of was like, wow, that's pretty powerful. Like her performance is that powerful where I like care about those characters. I mean, cross it again with Evil Dead remake. I don't give a fuck about any of those characters at all. I don't know anything about them. You know what I mean? So I don't know. But you go. What? But so them finding the book with a dubious earthquake in a bank vault somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that they needed to, like you said, they needed to open it up somehow to get that
Yeah.
Necronomicon in there.
I think
And
also, I think that the bank and all that stuff, I think that is potential sequel bait. Like they'll explain how the book got there in the next
yeah,
one, but I maybe not. I don't know.
yeah, there's a little hidden record collection under there. Um,
I like you didn't like the record part. I thought the record part was kind of
you
cool.
know,
I thought it was kind of cool. Like I liked. I mean, again, like it's playing with like tropes, but I love the whole like you got to play it
play
backwards to hear it.
backwards.
Like that was kind of
Yeah.
fun. Like I don't know.
Um,
Again, like
yeah, I just that part just didn't resonate with me. I thought it
yeah,
was like, I mean, of course, this whole movie is nonsensical. It can never happen in real life, but I can't, like a earthquake hits and then you see an opening literally in the ground and you're going to go crawl through it and see what the
yeah.
hell's down there. I don't know. Whatever,
I mean,
like you
kids.
said, it's
Yeah,
a
you're
dubious.
right. It's a horror movie. Kids are stupid. Like it. I would have liked them to had some better reason than just what the hell's that? Like, because the kid just jumps in that hole like
Yeah.
just immediately. Like, there would have been nice if you had some
Or
other kind of
caution. Yeah. Through
like
caution to the wind.
have the. I mean, it's simple it's a simple fix. Have the little girl fall in the hole, and then the brother has to go
Right.
get her. Like, do
Literally.
something like
Yeah.
that, and then you're fine.
This is why you
Oh,
need to write movies.
also, well, again, and I do think this is potential sequel baiting, but one thing that I keep saying one thing, but one thing I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Lincoln Park sucks, everybody. No, I love the fact that this movie is like horror nihilism because there's always that moment, and even in Evil Dead movies, where they figure out the trick to stop the monster. In this movie, they're like explicit. They're like, "Oh no, it's out. You're fucked. Like
Yeah.
nothing. You're just done." And I love that. I thought that was awesome. But it does beg the question: well, how did the priest that you're hearing the recordings of, like you hear that they died, but how did they stop it? Because the world's not over. Like, how did that, like, so I guess that's more like, well, that probably sequel bait. But
Yeah. I
one
think
thing,
this
but
is
I thought that the actual like just the brutalist nature of this movie, where it's like, oh no, you're not, there's no like secret message in the record where it's like, oh, you got to find this doodad and stuff it up your butthole and pray. No, you're just fucked. Like it's out and you're done. Like
yeah.
it's just done. I
TJ's
thought
been
that was,
using that method for a long time now to combat climate
oh
change, right?
yeah,
And it's
it's
still
not,
like the butt plugs
yeah,
don't
it's not
haven't done
working.
anything.
And
Yeah.
my messages to Greta Thunberg have been had been received, let's just say, coldly. I've been
TJ's
trying my
open to
best.
dialogue. It's just,
Yeah,
you know,
I've been trying my best, but yeah, nothing. But I don't know.
you
What are you
know what
gonna
I
do?
think my problem is?
Yes.
I think my problem is now that we've started this podcast, I
Hmm.
look at everything with a critical eye,
That's what happens. Yes.
and I'm way too critical, especially with this movie. Um, I went back and watched part of it a second time. Like the cold open, I really liked. I thought that
I
was
loved it. I thought the cold
was
open
pretty
was,
damn good.
it was awesome. I
Yeah,
thought it was, and it's a perfect table setter for the rest of the movie, and also one of the best credit reveals I've seen in a long time. Like where she's coming out of the water, and then it's like Evil Dead. Like I was like, I saw the thing. I was like, nom nom nom, gimme. Like I mean, like I'm a sucker for like that spectacle, and I just thought it was really creative. Like I felt like that creativity carried through. Like I love the violence, and like this movie is insanely violent.
yeah,
Like I'd have a hard time recommending this to like Normans because it's so fucking violent,
yeah,
and like violent against like kids. Like those kids get fucked up. Like not the cutest kid, which is an issue. Like you want to talk about TJ's script doctorism. And this is going to sound really demented, but to me, if I rewrote this movie, the cute little girl is the first one to die because that's fucked up. And then see,
You don't
once
want to
you
dangle her for a
no,
little bit, just
no,
like
that
as a little teaser,
once you
like, hey,
kill
we
the
might kill her later in the movie, but
no, and I'll tell you
we're gonna
why,
let you get
because
attached
you
first.
kill the little kid and then you don't know, the rules are off the table. You don't know
Yeah,
what the hell's going on. Like think about it. Like if that happens, you're like, oh, like a good example we can use in a movie that we reviewed in High Tension. There's that scene where the little kid runs away from the
yep,
killer and you're like, oh, he's going to get away, and the next thing you see is boom and he's dead, and it's
yeah.
like, oh fuck, like this, it's real now. Like um
We had a
but yeah.
discussion about this, like, I feel like maybe back in high school. It was a long time ago about unwritten rules of American
Oh,
horror, and
absolutely.
like
And a little kids
little
getting
kids are
killed
off the
is
table.
definitely, they
Yeah.
had that kid had super thick plot armor. That being said, I thought I because and I want to ask you, like, how did you feel about the kids' performances? Because I thought overall they were really good. Like
Yeah.
especially the littlest girl. I thought she, because it's tough to get good performances out of little kids, and I thought she did a great job.
Yeah.
Like I thought all of them did a good job.
I think they did pretty well. Like I'm not going to hate too hard on their performances. Um, they, I mean, um, if it were me in that situation, I would be so crippled with fear, I'd probably have a heart attack or just
Sure.
curl up in a little ball and wait to be stabbed through the eye or whatever. Like they held their own. They had a good performance. Um, the one character who found the Necronomicon, found the
Yeah.
album, and summoned all these demons, felt a lot of guilt and eventually admitted to it, like, fuck, I did this. I'm sorry. You guys,
I
my
yeah.
bad.
And
um,
I love that. I love that
yeah,
realization that it was like all his fault. And then
right.
later on, when the demons like started bringing that out, like I thought that was great. Also, the design of the Necronomicon, very appealing to me. Like it had like
The
teeth and
teeth.
it was like
Yeah.
really gross.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
I also feel
Um.
like this could have been a standalone movie without the Evil Dead
Oh
um,
yeah, a
moniker
thousand
on it.
percent.
Like
It didn't
this,
need it.
it did not need it, and in fact, it kind of distracted me a little bit because I feel like they have to tie in now and again. Um,
Yeah, well, that again, I agree that is some of my biggest problems. But I will say that I think that where it shines sometimes is like there's moments where you might not even realize it's an homage. Like for example, when the mom before the mom is completely turned into the demon, there's that scene in the elevator where she's
yeah,
like grabbed by all of the cables and stuff,
yeah,
and that's a great little homage to the scenes in Evil Dead where they're tied up in all the vines. I was like, that's clever without being like bash you over the
obvious.
head with
Yeah,
like like the eyeball scene is too
right.
much. I hate the eyeballs. I keep saying it. I hate the eyeballs.
I
But
did
what
like
else?
how
What else? Like I'm sorry, man. I just bull rushed this whole episode. I'm very
um
tired. We talked about this before the show.
yeah, I'm sorry. TJ, like, so let me, can I step aside from Evil Dead
Sure,
Rise
we
for
only
a
got
second?
7 minutes, so
And I want to quickly apologize to TJ
what?
on our podcast because last week I lost the
Oh,
episode
yeah, it's fine. It
that we
happens.
did for the Innocents, and we had to re-record it.
Yeah.
But I never told TJ, and I apologize. I ended up finding the original
Oh,
recording.
well, that's
You were
fine.
right all along. It was on like the local drive on Zoom,
I I
which I didn't
I
even
only
know
know because
existed.
I had the same thing happen to me on a movie the podcast episode, and I totally I didn't find it until like 3 months later. It's like, oh shit, here it is. Hang on.
So there is a lost episode out there now.
Yeah,
But the one I posted yesterday.
you you should have done what they do with like comedy specials and just stitched them both together. Like,
That seems like way too much editing.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Way too much work. Um, so I, yeah, in with movies like these, I really have to try to rack my brain and figure out why I don't like it. And sometimes it's just that guttural thing where I'm just like, it doesn't
Yeah,
really
it's
appeal to me
fair.
so much. But um,
Maybe
I
it's
thought
something you'll revisit in the future and be like, yeah,
yeah, because I went back and I watched some of it. I'm like, it's okay. Maybe I just have to be in a different frame of mind, to be quite honest.
I
Maybe,
mean that definitely happens. I mean,
yeah,
maybe you just don't like it. I don't know. Like sometimes it's hard to quantify like what you didn't vibe with in a movie.
right.
You know what I mean?
I think the I can't believe I'm saying this, but um the blood I thought maybe a little excessive, which is a weird
Oh
thing
my
to say
God.
on a
It
horror
I mean,
podcast.
it was super like I said, I
Yeah,
liked it because it was
yeah.
just like I think like they just put they like
They went
stamped
balls
out
to the wall with
right
the
away
blood.
like, oh, we're not gonna like this is just all out.
Yeah,
And I especially like when they turn into demons and some of those kills, like when the girl's like eating the glass, and I'm just like, oh,
yeah.
this is fucking disgusting. Like I loved it. Like, because again, like I give the movie it's kind of a left-handed compliment. I love how far it went because
Yeah,
I like I said I like this movie so much, but like I would have a hard time recommending this to like a normal person, like a normie non like horror watcher.
yeah,
But like I wish they went further. Again, the little kid comes to mind, like because you said it before. You're like, well, they didn't kill her right away. They just kind of dangle her across the whole movie, and that's
yeah.
a little corny. That's what a normal movie would do, and
Right.
it would have been nice to me. Like you already are pushing the envelope so far with the amount of violence on the screen. Like just go just a little further. Like I don't know
Yeah.
that, but that's a minor complaint for me. Like I said, overall, like I think this blows away the remake because
Oh,
again
yeah.
I feel like
Absolutely,
this is
100%
trying to be
agree.
its own thing too. Like that's why I like I said the opening. This didn't need to be Evil Dead Rise. This could have just been like I don't know, the Zombie Mom
The Evil
TM.
Dead moniker will
I
get
don't know.
asses in seats. That's what
And
it'll do.
that's what's kind of depressing, right? Like
Yeah.
everything has to be a fucking franchise nowadays. Everything has to have an established name. Like you couldn't just release this movie and it's solid. Like I know you didn't like love it as much as me, but you can at least it's like well made and it's different. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you couldn't just put this out as its own thing and get people's attention. No, you got to make it fucking Evil Dead. Like,
Yeah.
and then we have to have fucking conversations about the top fucking like the list of the power rankings of the Evil Dead franchise, and it's just like
I
oh
mean,
god,
I think what they did really well was uh cast the protagonist. What's her name again? Alyssa
yeah,
Sutherland. She was amazing. I
Alyssa, yeah,
mean, just her like facial expressions alone, she's like made, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but her face, she has such sharp features.
yes, no, you're absolutely right. Like they picked her face is perfect, and like
Yeah.
she like I this is gonna be a weird comparison, but like back in the 90s, like I always thought that Marilyn Manson did a really good job of like framing his face in photos. Like he
Yeah.
looked scary with
Yep.
his like he knew how to contort his face and look scary with the makeup, and like he gave you know an aura. And I always
Yeah.
thought that was like he did a really good job at that. It's one of his strongest suits. And she did the same thing. Like there's just something like just unhealthy. Like she just looks like unhinged and like especially there's just some scenes where like I like the scenes where like she's looking through the eye hole of the door
Yeah.
and she's got this kind of like half smirk on her face and it's like there's still like bits of humanity in her.
Yeah.
I felt like her performance was like
I'm gonna have to
in
go back and watch this again. I feel like I'm about to give it an
yeah,
unfair rating, but I'm
yeah,
just gonna go ahead and do it anyway.
that's fine.
Do you wanna go first? Do you wanna?
I mean it's a fucking 10 for me. Like I love
Holy shit!
yeah,
Really?
I love it.
Wow. So this is your
I
favorite one we've done so far.
actually, you know what? I'm gonna retract my. I'm gonna make it a 9 because I do have some complaints in the movie. It's not fair for me
Throw a
to give it a
decimal in
10.
there.
9.5.
Okay. Whoa.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's very close to a
Wow.
10.
All right.
If you change the small little things that I nitpicked, it's a 10. It's very close to a 10. It's
Yeah.
very I like I said, this movie made a big impact on me and I really liked it. And also, I think partially I went in with the lowest expectation because
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be the remake again.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, and it really impressed me. So yeah, 9.5. How about
Wow.
you?
I would say 6.5.
I mean, that's still not bad.
It's not bad, and it is really not. And the only reason I give it that score is because this had been hyped up so much. I heard from so many
See, I
people.
think that also works against the movie for
Yeah.
you. Not in general, but like it's kind of nice when you get to like because I saw the movie and I was hearing like positive feedback, but like you know how it goes. Like I've heard,
No.
I mean, how many movies have we talked about on the show where it's like I heard fucking TikTok Skinamarink and
Yeah.
people love that. I watched it. It's the worst piece of dog shit I've ever seen. But like it's nice when you get to see a movie before like the huge hype train. And again,
Yeah.
I'm a conductor on that train, so it's partially my
I'm
fault
gonna
too.
watch this movie again, and I'm gonna really regret this score. I can just feel it now, but I'm sticking with it for now.
Whatever, man. It's this this
Whatever.
isn't written in stone, and opinions change, and your perspective changes on things. That's part of growing up.
Oh, well, I like that, TJ.
Hey,
Thank you.
man.
That was beautiful.
Uh,
All right,
thank
we got
you.
less than a minute. So,
Yeah.
14th episode. We made it 14 episodes. We've been doing this for
The
more than that's math.
yeah,
3 months?
yeah.
Yeah.
3 months. Yeah, 3 months. 14 is the most important episode of any podcast, as anybody, if everybody knows.
All right.
Still waiting
Put
for
a
that
pin in it.
sponsorship. Come
Yeah.
on, Dollar Shave Club. Where you at? This needs to go. I
I
mean,
like it. Keep it. Never shave.